Trump can't escape the Epstein accusations. No matter how much he tries, he can't do it. And it's gotten to the point where the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, just straight up made this story up to reporters claiming that Trump was actually an informant for the FBI when he was close to Epstein.
The details matter in how you do this. You have to protect the innocent victims who do not want to come out and stand behind the microphones. And I think the women who spoke yesterday clearly understand that. They told me that themselves. In fact, I met with them privately before he went into oversight yesterday, and I explained the necessity of that. And every single one of them nodded and said, of course, yes, please do that.
But Trump called it a hoax yesterday.
What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times.
It comes
He is
across as
horrified.
calling the whole thing a hoax.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago. What he's talking about is the Democrats who are doing this with impure motives. If they cared so much about this, why didn't they do something during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all the records? They didn't say a word about it.
And not only is that ridiculous, because Trump has never been, part of any type of thing that prosecuted Epstein. He was never a witness or anything like that. So it'd be kind of weird if he was like a spy who was part of a case as a witness, but actually the whole time he was not actually there to prosecute Epstein, but gather evidence that maybe used 20 years later after Epstein is charged with other crimes. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really add up. And what's especially funny about all of this is now that the Epstein estate released a whole trove of birthday letters to Jeffrey Epstein, the infamous note to Jeffrey was released in its full glory. And I do want to just look at that real quick. It is a drawing of a silhouette of a woman or a girl. People have pointed out that the breasts seem underdeveloped. That's a little weirder of an angle than I would like to come from, but I'm just reporting what other people said. Looks like underdeveloped breasts. Is that? I don't know. Don't ask me. But I do want to read the letter itself. They already released the text to this before, but I think when you take it into context with the image and you read it with that, it feels a little bit even creepier than when they first released the text itself. So it says voiceover at the top, and then it says, here, I'll do the voiceover. I'm sure he was imagining something like an English Disney type of voice, like, there must have been more to life than having everything. That came out as more Australian. Sorry. There must be more to life than having everything. And then Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that, Jeffrey? Oh, I added the Jeffrey part there. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. And then it's his name under that with his signature under that, sort of where the crotch would be on the outline silhouette of an armless girl. And what I think is really interesting about this is the way he would have had to have produced this in like 2003 in his office on a typewriter, he would have probably like centered it and then typed voiceover, then like went down and then centered it and typed the beginning part. And then like he must have like really went through the work of like typing this all out and then drawing over it in the Sharpie, which I mean, maybe that's something you do to someone that you don't like, who you're trying to get like in prison. Or maybe you do that to like your best bud who you like really think is cool and chill. And, some people have been trying to debate about his signature. It looks like every time I've seen his signature, it's also just weird that he has denied this existing and that he wrote this. He even sued the newspaper that first released the text. I'm not exactly sure who did that. I didn't really have time to look it up, but he sued them, and I don't know how that lawsuit's going either. But yeah, the most important part is that Speaker Johnson said that Donald was a spy for the FBI to investigate Jeffrey Epstein, and then was never involved in any court stuff regarding Jeffrey Epstein. And then the next 2 days later, this comes out, and of course he's denying that he created this, saying that the Democrats created this. But also, so since then, Mike Johnson has reiterated this since July, but I'm going to read his July quote, which he said, "We're not going to allow the Democrats to use this for political cover. They had 4 years. Remember, the Biden administration held the Epstein files for 4 years, and not a single one of these Democrats or anyone in Congress made any thought about it at all." So this is interesting because it's mostly true. Of course, there are some people who have been complaining about the Epstein files since he got killed, but I'm not sure who in Congress has been. A lot of people really didn't talk about sex crimes under Biden. But maybe there is some proof that someone talked about it. So it looks like factually is claiming that Biden could have released the files. It contains grand jury testimony, which requires court approval for release. It's unclear whether the court would have granted their request, implying that Biden may not have the authority. Democratic lawmakers were actively pushing for transparency during Biden's term. Representatives Lois Frankel and Debbie Wasserman Schultz had been seeking the release of Epstein records since 2019, but their efforts were hindered by the Justice Department and other factors. Senate Democrats attempted to force the release using arcane laws, but faced challenges obtaining documents from the executive branch and the likelihood of a protracted legal fight. The Trump administration has now taken steps that the Biden administration did not. The Department of Justice has filed court papers to unseal grand jury documents related to Jeffrey Epstein's case, following an uproar over investigative files. Attorney General Pam Bondi has released the first phase of declassified Epstein files. This was in February. So this was looks like the flight log, evidence list, contact book, and all of these are redacted. So I don't know about that. But it does seem like there were some Democrats who were interested in it, but Biden wasn't. And I mean, Biden's a fucking creep. And Biden was like really into like institutional power. I don't think he was going to sacrifice any of that to throw away like any child molesters into prison. I just don't think he was going to do that. And it makes sense as an attack to go at the Democrats for that. But the problem is that a few Democrats wanted to stop it, but in general, Democrats don't mind releasing those things. And it's the opposite for Republicans, where a few Republicans want to release it, and most of the other ones are actively voting against releasing the files or doing anything to sort of push this story. They consider it an attack. And Mike Johnson's creepy fucking watching, having his son write down whenever he jerks off. Like, I don't trust that guy when it comes to the sexuality of teenagers. Sorry.